Good morning, campers. Let's do reading. I feel like we have a new collective today, so let's see where this goes. As I opened the channel, they were showing me repeating pattern that you cannot break, and it's it relates to your relationships, right? So you would right now be in between relationships. You wouldn't be in any relationship, but you would be dating. And you know what I always say? Relationships, karmic relationships, and most people for most time, they do engage in karmic relationships. They are meant to teach us a lesson. And the biggest mistake that people commit in relationships is that they jump from one to another. Why? Because they're afraid to be on their own. They don't love themselves enough to be on their own. It's also social conditioning as well. It's easier to numb your wounds with someone else. But if we don't give ourselves enough time in between relationships, and when I say enough time, I don't mean weeks, nor do I mean months, okay? I really mean a lot of time to really contemplate and look inwards. What is it that this relationship came to teach me, came to show me? All you're going to do is you're going to repeat the same patterns, maybe in different setting, maybe with a different person, but we're going to go back to the same lessons. And what they were showing me with you is that you do have some sort of a reflective thinking, right? So going from one relationship to another, you exit thinking, this is what I'm not going to do ever again, this is what, right? But you're not learning all the lessons. And what do I always say to you guys? If we exit a karmic relationship, the only way to be aligned with a soulmate is to sit down with ourselves for a period of time of shadow work and really review all the previous relationships. I have I don't know how to think. Sorry, I'm on my water fast. I'm thinking very slow these days, so bear with me. I have a release of a karmic attunement that comes with some exercises, so if you're interested, you can check that out. But what you need to do is look back to all your relationships and really figure out all your lessons. Because if you leave anything out, you will only find another karmic relationship, right? And with you, with this collective, I'm feeling that you're learning some lessons, right? You're progressing, but you're not doing it completely because there's this urgency to be with someone. There's this urgency to move forward. I was also feeling in your energy generically urgency. So you'll be someone who isn't really patient. It's like you don't like being a newbie. You don't like waiting for things for a long time. You want it all and you want it now and you want to be an expert in everything. Okay? All right. So if that resonates, let's jump in. Let's start from checking your energy. How are you currently feeling? So you can double confirm that this is really your reading. How is this collective feeling? We have strength. I'm hearing empowered with this. Let me do a few more. We have faith, energy. One more. Rejection. Okay, so with this strength, this faith, this energy, we have a lot of color red. I'm hearing blocked root. I was also hearing blocked solar plexus. But we'll look into this in a moment. But you would be feeling quite empowered right now. Quite empowered. Quite, this moment when we exit a relationship, first we feel obviously heartbroken. We feel, like we failed. We feel very down. Our self-esteem usually goes down. But as we recover, we enter this, it wasn't me, it was you, I'm wonderful, I can find love for myself, right? So I feel you're in this mindset. You're feeling strong, you're feeling empowered. You would be having a lot of energy right now. You'd be very energized. You have faith in future to come. I'm hearing you have faith in love, which is good because one of the most dangerous things that happens when people are wounded after karmic relationships is, consciously or not, it happens in, you know, variety of ways, but they lose faith in love because they fail to understand that it's not love that was to blame here. It was the person that they connected to, and then themselves, because they connected to this person, right? But I ain't liking this rejection. I feel this is something, hold on. Sorry, I had to drink my water this fast. Is killing me. I feel like this is something that you're ignoring, that you have rejection issues. And with that solar plexus, I dare to say codependency. But here's the thing, this is the very dangerous thing, and I say this as a mantra to you guys almost every reading. Shadows are tricksters. Shadows disguise themselves as light. Shadows tell us that they're actually a good thing, that they're traits of a character, right? And many people, when they exit a relationship, they have this urgency to be with someone else, and they say to themselves that they just want to, you know, figure out their life, that it's good to be with someone, that love is beautiful, but in reality, it's codependency. Whatever is it that we seek is what we're lacking, because in aligned life, in truly aligned life, things come to us naturally without us seeking anything. So whether we're seeking attention, partner, love, fame, whatever that is, right? It's because we don't have that internally. So oftentimes people refuse to accept that, right? That it comes from a rejection issue. It comes from a rejection trauma, that you really fear that no one will want you, that you're not worthy of being loved and finding a beautiful relationship. So you go ahead and seek it to numb that pain. Oftentimes people, there's a reason it's coming to my mind, date multiple people or go on that adventure of sort of a dating to prove to themselves that they want it, right? And in reality, all we truly need is for that one person to want us and to love us, and that person is ourselves. All right, let's do another row. Strength. Growth. This is nice, and I was seeing this. So but I also feel like in this concept, you feel like you're growing. So whenever you look back, you would feel in your mind that you grew from your past relationship, that you are doing some self-work. And I'm hearing that you are. It's just that this urgency, right? This urgency. But don't worry, we're going to get you back into alignment. Surrender. Let's do 2 more. And I'll tell you what I'm hearing. Consciousness. Peace. Hunger. We have hunger, that this is my longing card. I'm hearing, this reading is going to be very specific, but it's going to be for most of you, even if you are a part of this collective. I feel like you're going to scroll, because you really have to be ready for deep inner work and some harsh decisions in order to truly be aligned. And the issue with most people is that they choose denial. They choose to live in a bubble of denial because it's easier. Shadow work is hard. Self-reflection is hard. This is why we live hundreds of lifetimes on this planet, constantly, repeating the same cycles, because even when on some subconscious level we are aware of certain things that we need to course correct, we're too afraid to do this. We're too tired. The ego tells ourselves that we only have this life, so we cannot waste it on being on our own, being with our partner, struggling with shadow work. But it's all lies of the ego, right? If you're not going to course correct it in this lifetime, you're going to get a harsher lesson in the next one. So once you have the awareness, the best thing you can do is to actually course correct and do the work, right? I feel like you would think, this collective, you would think that you've done a lot of thinking, that you've done a lot of work, that you've learned so much with your previous partner or even partners. that you are very self-conscious, that you you might even think that, you know, you believe in destiny, that you're very spiritual here and there, this and that, sorry, here and there in reality. But and with this peace, what I was hearing is like that you want peace. You want peace. So you would now be telling to yourself, I am dating, I've learned my lessons, I'm never gonna allow anyone like my ex-partner to come anywhere near me. I want peace, I don't want any drama, I want to find someone worthy. But in reality, what you are missing in this equation is the self-question. What did I do that I attracted this ex-partner? Because if that will not be course corrected, and I'm feeling rejection trauma, we're going to do shadow work in a moment, you're only going to attract the same partner. Even if in the beginning you're going to think that it's a completely different partner, it's going to be a completely different personality, completely different soul, it's going to be another karmic that will come to teach you another lesson, to course correct the same thing that you're refusing to course correct. It's like you are having contemplation, you are thinking about what your partner, you know, why wasn't it good for you, but you're only looking at your partner, you're not looking at yourself, you're not looking at what did I do wrong, what mistakes did I commit in choosing that partner, why did I choose this person, what qualities I was attracted to. Maybe it wasn't a good thing. Maybe I was looking, I feel like you still look from, you know what I always say about modern dating, that like people just like tick these boxes, like this person has to be this and that, and true connection is about soul connection. With your soulmate, you're going to have immediate connection, you're not going to have to tick any boxes, but in reality, in order to know who is your soulmate, and many people asks me this, whether on sessions or, you know, in comments, how do I know that this is my soulmate? Well, I'll give you an answer. You heal. That's the only way, because when you heal, you strip the layers of your shadows, you allow your soul to take the reins, you speak from the level of the soul, your spirit lives in your heart, and that's how you really know. And you recognize soul connections. When we are in wounding, when we are in denial, when we are led by our ego and by our shadows, we see what we want to see. So we tell ourselves that karmic connections that we come across, we usually tell ourselves that, oh, this is my twin, this is my soulmate. And so many people does this. Why? Because they're unhealed. Because they don't take this period that I mentioned to you to truly release that karma. All right. All right, let's quickly see what's going on in your life right now. I want to just tap into that energy. And then I'm feeling guided to do what your inner feminine and your inner masculine. What shadows are there? And then we're going to do some tarot. What's going on with this collective? What's going on? 3, let's maybe do 5. All right. Okay. We have love. So love would be on your mind. You would be someone that you want love, right? You want love. And the very difficult, they're showing me a lion in reverse. So you may be a very proud person. So you may be someone that you wouldn't, you know, admit to others, oh, I want love, I want relationship. You would just be saying that, oh, these men are just like maybe pursuing you, and maybe, you know, why not? And I don't know, that may be a detail for some of you, but I was hearing that you might not really be one of those people that like openly admit that they want love, but love would be on your mind. Love would be on your mind, but we have addiction. Codependency, obsession, controlling, block, resistant. I was hearing two things with this. So these things may or may not resonate with some of you. But one thing that I was hearing, that it may be that your previous partner or partners struggled with some sort of addictions. But the other thing that I'm hearing is that it's this codependency. It keeps returning. You have the energy of codependency within you, and it's something that you would not admit. Okay? And people who, again, I always say this, when people are not ready to heal, nothing that the biggest psychic medium would say to them as a channel from their guides that they would accept. Because if you want to be in denial, you will stay in denial, right? So ask yourself, do you want to get out of this bubble and really heal? Or you want to continue to stay in denial? Because if all what I said before resonated, if this is your reading, you have huge codependency issue. Now, people oftentimes confuse independence, right, with they don't understand what it means, codependency. So they are independent in the sense of, I've met so many, especially women, who, you know, they live on their own, they make their own money, they don't need men to sustain themselves, right? So in a physical sense of understanding of things, they're very independent. But very few of these women are actually capable of having beautiful, wonderful, fulfilling relationship with themselves and not be looking for any kind of, you know, dating or attentions or adventure with other people, because it requires true self-love to say, it's either gonna be a higher soulmate or I am not interested. I do not need anyone in my life. I'm having amazing time on my own. True alone wolf energy. It's what I always say to you guys. True alone wolf. Equally fulfilled in a pack of soulmates and on his own. And I'm also hearing with this codependency that you may not realize that, but when we're freed of codependency, we love unconditionally. And many people, I've done a video a long time ago what unconditional love really means. You can watch it on my YouTube. If you go to my YouTube, link is in my bio. There's a spirituality playlist, and there's going to be a video about unconditional love. When you truly love unconditionally, you want nothing from anyone. So if you are dating from a perspective of, the person that I want to date, he needs to be this, he needs to be that, he needs to da-da-da-da-da-da-da, all the qualities, that probably all those qualities are everything in reverse from your ex. It's codependency. You are codependent because you want something from this person. You want something, okay? Specific, in a normal relationship, we just healed people, we just come across someone, okay? If we're open to love, we can go on a date, and if we're really healed, within minutes, we're gonna know, is this a soulmate? And if this person is, we're not gonna criticize them for who they are. We're not gonna tell them that, you know, is there something wrong with them. We're just gonna be like, no, I don't feel that connection. I don't feel that connection. Do you know what I mean? We have talking. We have palm tree, which is stability, security, growth, and we have both progression, moving on. I'm hearing we're on to something with this independence. You would feel like you have a lot of stability on your own, right? So you may even be a little bit afraid to admit that you want love and you don't understand maybe where it's coming from. But in your heart, it's something that you do look for. I feel with this talking, this is like talking to people. And you would really think that you've learned and you moved on, that you've learned your lessons. Let's quickly just do a confirmation, and then we really dive into your shadows. Love. Girl talk. Moving on. Happy single. Living the moment. Having fun. Yeah, I take that as a confirmation of what we said. So you wouldn't be out loud admitting that, oh my gosh, I would love to have love, I love love, that's something that I'm missing. But I'm hearing something also about maybe you lack really deep relationships with your girlfriends as well. So if you're not able to be very 100% vulnerable with your friend to say, I'm miserable, I'm unhappy, I want love, but you're more like, yeah, I'm dating and there's so much men that, they're interested in me and I've learned my lessons with my ex and da-da-da-da-da, they're not your true friends. They're not your true friends. They're groupies. I'm saying that groupie card. Why would you even want to have a friend that you cannot be yourself with? To show all your wounds, to show all your to be vulnerable. Addiction. A grim reaper. A relationship is over, no second chances, transform your life. Yeah, I feel really strongly for this collective that you have an ex that was really a harsh karmic, right? And you said to yourself that you will never allow anything like this in your life. So you grew this stability and independence. We've discussed in previous part why it's just a facade and it's just an illusion, and you promise yourself that you would never deal. I feel like whenever you're dating, I don't know why, whenever you're dating, you don't look at this person from a perspective of a person, but you're looking for like to tick check boxes that they're not like your ex, which is not a healthy place to be. Whatever you say yourself, it's not. And I feel, again, there is something strong with this codependency. We've discussed this in previous part as well, but it's like you told yourself maybe you were very codependent and you realized that you were codependent from your ex-partner. Maybe you wanted to leave for a very long time and you were unable to leave for a very long time. And in that process, as you finally liberated yourself from the karmic, you promised yourself that you will never form these ties, that you won't be able to leave that other person. But it's fear-based. It's fear-based because in reality, this is what I tried to explain to you in previous part, right? When we exit a relationship, someone hurt us, let's say, right? Someone took advantage of us, cheated on us, whatever it is, right? Whatever abruptive karmic we're dealing with. If you go to a next relationship thinking all the qualities of my ex, they cannot be there, and I will not allow myself to be treated that way. So for example, if you were cheated, you start to get obsessed, or you obsessively just make sure that you are with someone that will never cheat, or you're like really checking on that someone, like checking the signs, are they a cheater or not, right? But in reality, it's fear-based. It's still woundings. It's still, you're not in readiness to date, because when you're truly in readiness, your heart is open, your heart is healed. And it's what I told you in previous relationship, you truly recognize your soulmate. And the course correction that has to happen is not that I'm going to find a partner that is not like my ex, but it's that if I will see in a person that I'm dating a quality that is against my values, my self-worth, I will leave immediately. So people who mistrust others, we often talk about this in this channel as well. People who mistrust others are really people who mistrust themselves. Because if you're obsessed that your partner's going to cheat on you, or that your partner's going to, lie to you, or your partner's that you don't trust yourself, that you're not going to choose the same partner that you have in the past. And with this collective, rightfully, because you haven't learned all your lessons. You're moving forward too fast. You want to move on too fast. You started dating too fast. Talking. Not today. Not dealing hard. Avoiding conversation. Interesting. Still angry. More than anything, I'm looking at this still angry. You would still, the snake. Twin flame. No. Okay, we're gonna do some deep shadow work, okay, for this collective. This is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you still angry, okay? And that is, again, number one rule. Number one rule. I do not care what anyone says. If you still hold resentment to your ex-partner, no matter what they did to you, the most abusive, narcissistic, cruel, karmic, if you still hold this alive anger, grudge, when you hear their name like this, you cannot enter next relationship. I do not care what anyone says. Because I promise you, as a medium and as an expert on soul relationships, I promise you, all you're going to find is another karmic. Because whoever comes into our life comes as a blessing and as a lesson to help our soul to grow. So whatever your karmic partner, ex-partner did to you was a lesson. The moment you learn your lesson truly, and I have a lot of content about learning karmic lessons as well, the moment you learn your lesson, you let go, okay? You let go. You may not want to see this person. You might not want to know about them. You might not want to deal with them, right? You may still have a bit of a, but it's not this alive anger, this resentment, this not, they become neutral. When you truly let go, they become neutral. And as long as that happens, all you're going to find is another karmic. I promise you. I really promise you. With this palm tree and this snake, I feel like this person disrupted your security and your stability, and however sense is that. So maybe it was financially, maybe you were always someone who was very, so secure and confident, and with this ex-person you really felt very humiliated even, I'm hearing. I feel they are a very snake person, right? But it has really nothing to do with, everything can be forgiven. I promise you. I help people do that. I guide people through this. Everything that was did to you can be forgiven, can be let go of. And I'm not liking this last card. I feel this collective, you're connected to someone that you're thinking this is your true soul connection, twin flame even, but it's not. Alright, this ain't gonna be a easy reading. Let's do some shadow work. I want to do some shadow work. Okay, let's do your feminine and your masculine, because I feel like you're very imbalanced. So let's maybe start from your feminine. We're gonna do 3, and then we're gonna do your inner masculine. Message from your guides. What is it that they wanting you to heal, to really pay attention to? I'm hearing father wound, but let's see what heal your feminine. Heal your feminine. I would feel this collective is going to be a bit of a harsh messages, right? But again, those of us who want to grow, who really want one day achieve peace, fulfillment, true love, we have to go through this. We have to go through the shadow work when someone tells us what we don't necessarily want to hear, but we want to accept that. If you're not willing to look inwards, you're never going to truly move forward. Because analyzing your life through the prism of other people and what they did to you, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. You're just going to go deeper into the wounding. And this collective, I feel you have a very distorted understanding of femininity. I feel you're strongly in your masculine. Maybe you would think that you're in your feminine because you allow all these men to take you on dates, and maybe you're very, You take care of yourself and you're very bubbly, but it's not femininity. Nothing to do with femininity. I'm going to read through this in a moment. Let me pull 2 more for your feminine energy. What else we need to heal? Oh, hold on.